So let's go ahead and start. It's 2 p.m. now. Thank you everybody for logging in. We are also live on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. So thank you everybody. I know it's Fridays. We're almost there at the weekend. So really appreciate you guys taking out time of the day to be here with us today. We're going to make it worth your while. So for all the new people, this is leveraging market stats to boost your business. We've been doing this now for 5 years. Every single month, we go over the stats, not just in Miami, Broward, Palm Beach. But more important than the stats is the trend. You know, what are the major things going on in the market? Um, how could realtors leverage some information to make more deals? And so got a lot of great information today, and it starts with the different leaders that come onto the program. And we have one of the best here. You talk about analytics in Miami. She is an incredible insights, great presentations if you haven't seen her. But Anna, thank you so much for being here. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you guys for having me.
Awesome. Yeah. So, all right, Anna. So, first of all, I guess the first question is, why is it so important? Pretend I'm just a realtor. I just want to sell houses. Why is it so important to follow these stats?
Well, I think that as we've seen over the last year, the mainstream media isn't necessarily getting it right when it comes to Miami. There are a lot of headlines, a lot of clickbait, and clients read that. I mean, I've personally refuted quite a few mainstream articles last year that were complete fabrications with numbers completely, I mean, polar opposites of what's actually going on. So in Newsweek, I think it went, Business Insider, Newsweek, all of them, I corrected all of them. They had stats saying the market's down like 11.2%. It was completely fabricated. It's incredible. And they do this with impunity. So we need to be able to communicate the realities of this market, which are different than other places. And then also there's an interesting thing happening now where people are conflating the realities of the rest of Florida with that of South Florida and Miami. And that's not true either. So no one talks about Manhattan real estate in the same sentence as Buffalo or Albany, for example. Different. And we're seeing a lot of that lately, where the realities of the rest of Florida, where maybe they've seen inventory surges past pre-COVID levels, et cetera. A lot of that's being combined in perception with what is happening or not happening in South Florida. So we have a very distinct story, and we need to be super knowledgeable about it because our clients are oftentimes seeing something else in the press.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Definitely. Yeah, thank you so much for refuting those reports. I've seen those, so that's phenomenal what you're doing there. And 100%, yeah, we're distinct. We're different than the rest of Florida, than the rest of the US. So let's go into some of the our agenda today. We're going to go over the brand new January 2025 stats that are being released to the media today. Actually, as we speak, news releases are going out from the association. We also have a market focus video on social media, but these are official stats. The Miami Association of Realtors owns the SEF MLS. So as we like to say, we are the source of the source. And so just some housekeeping here. We have our future webinars already lined up. If you guys would like to register for those on our website, but like I said, every single month we come here together to go over the latest stats and the trends, and how we can make more deals. I know a lot of the questions that we get on here is this being recorded? And the answer is yes. And can I get this PowerPoint? Yes, you can. Just type in your email into the chat, and afterwards I'll compile them all and I will send them to you. If you're on LinkedIn, do the same thing. I will go in there and look in the comment section on LinkedIn, on YouTube, Facebook. I'll put your email in and I will get you this PowerPoint. All right. And then, so the most important thing, if you could just remember one website, well, actually two websites. All right. The first website I want you to remember is analytics.miami, which is Anna's website. Incredible website. And I put it in the chat. If you're not following her, go to that website. And the second one is sfmarketintel.com. This is where we put all of our stats, all of our brand new. We don't have county. We also have city and um, community reports there on sfmarketintel.com. So I might say that one or two more times, sfmarketintel.com. Make it easy. We put it there. All right, Anna. So I'm going to go over our three major counties here in South Florida, and then I'll ask you a question on Miami. But these are the stats that I saw coming out. Again, brand new stats. Single family home sales, 1 million and up. No surprise, they're going up. Condo sales, we're going to talk about the condo market. 400, 600 condo sales are up. And let's go into Broward. Single family home sales are up. And again, you'll see a trend, 1 million and up condo sales are up there. Palm Beach County, total home sales are up 3%. Condo sales are up 1%. All right, so Anna, let's go back to Miami-Dade. Obviously, a big issue now that the new condo state regulations in regards to reserves and so forth went
Mhm.
into effect December 31, 2024. We are now in February. There's a lot of talk in the media about the condo market and the state of the condo market, but um, these regulations, how do you view them, and do you see them as kind of a short-term pain for a long-term gain type of thing?
Oh, I mean, 100%. What was the alternative? To keep kicking the can down the road? There is no alternative. So it's definitely short-term pain for long-term gain. And on the plus side, we have this influx of capital interest into South Florida. So some of these imperiled structures or structure challenged buildings have the potential of being bought out, which for many of them is the best case scenario, because if the building is really in disrepair and really in a financial hole, there's not like there's one fix. They'll have an assessment now and then they could have another one in a few years. And it's like throwing good money after bad. So that is the silver lining, is that there's a lot of interest, a lot of money for development in South Florida. Still, we're kind of unique that way. But I don't see an alternative as the answer. It,
Yeah.
there's no good road to kicking the can down the road indefinitely when it comes to the structure of your building.
Yeah, yeah. And Anna, I love your presentations and how you talk about Long Miami.
Mhm.
If you could summarize that, I love that. If you could summarize that for everybody and your thesis there.
Sure. Yeah, basically my thesis, I've been saying this since the immediate aftermath of COVID, is that I felt very strongly that we're in a period of rapid change and that it was just early days when it comes to the wealth and talent migration towards away from 20th century, as I've been calling them, epicenters, towards new 21st century capitals, of which Miami is one. And it's important to recognize that entrepreneurship always flows towards the paths of least resistance, doesn't just die and go away. It flows to where the ground is fertile, where you can grow and create. And we've become a prime destination for entrepreneurship. And that's a cycle that feeds itself. So the top 1% taxpayers in high tax jurisdictions like New York, like one of our prime feeder jurisdictions, account for over 45% of revenue. So you lose just 10% of those people, you've created massive negative loops at the points of origin and massive positive loops at the destination, points of destination of which we are one. And so it was very clear, listen, momentum forces they build. They just don't come out of nowhere. They don't just like randomly go away. So these things they build and they're very real. And it's like they have a long life. So I saw this coming at the beginning in the immediate post-COVID aftermath, and I said, "Wow, this is like you're long a stock. You believe in its long-term appreciation potential." And that's exactly the same thing that's happening in Miami. It's still very much early days, and for this to change, this is the reality. We would have to see a massive net reversal of contributing citizens, tax-paying contributing citizens, back to high tax states. So that is not going to happen. The trend across America is that productive citizens are leaving high tax states. That is clear census data trend. And why would that reverse? So the flow to Miami has just begun. So long Miami just means that we're in the early days of this long upswing of prosperity for our region.
Yeah, I love it. Okay. I love how you said that where the ground is fertile. That's awesome. All right. So here let's go to another major talking point, mortgage rates. We had thought about last year that the rates would go down a bit with the Fed cuts, but no,
Mm.
no, they're not. Um, Anna, what do you think? Do you think this is the new normal, 7% rates? And
Well, actually,
how?
we're hovering around the historic average the last 150 years, so it kind of is normal. What we had for 20 years was not normal. Historic anomaly, zero interest rate policy. That was very much the historic anomaly. It was just it stuck around for the bulk of most of our adult lives. I don't know how old everybody is listening to this, but 20 years it was there, and that was the anomaly. So I think it is unlikely that we will go back to that.
Yeah. And then when you look at stats, do you how sensitive are sales to mortgage rates? Like how big of an impact?
I mean, in our market, we have a heavy cash market.
Yeah.
That's the other point. The higher up you go in price, the more all cash we are. At just $1 million, condos were, I think, 71% all cash last year in Miami-Dade County. So we have a heavy cash market. And, when you talk about effects, it's like, well, we see what's happening in the market. Our market keeps moving forward despite this. So however it's factored in, it is not a net negative. It's being handled is my answer. I give the same answer to questions about insurance rates, storms, blah, blah, blah. I don't really have like I can't read somebody's mind. I don't know if people are worried or not worried. I don't know, but I do know what the market is doing. And so people are talking about the insurability of homes in South Florida, blah, blah, blah. Okay. I mean, yeah, true. But at the same time, our single family home market is up, I think, 11% median pricing year over year, and there's no inventory. So people are acting one way, and that the way is very clear. So
Yeah, no, wow, interesting. Heavy cash market. There's a new ranking that came out the other day. West Palm Beach, number one in the US, all cash sales in 2024. Fort Lauderdale, number four, and Miami at number five. So we got the three of the top five.
yeah. And again, when you filter, that's for the whole market. When you filter for price, it gets even more shocking.
Ah, there you go. All right. Okay. So here's another point that we should all put out there. Realtor.com put out a study about their top markets for 2025. No surprise, Miami comes in at number two. Um, what is your take here? You mentioned the all cash sales. When you look at the entire year, I know it's hard to you don't have a crystal ball, but if rates stay where they are, we have the high cash. What type of year? What expectations do you have for this year? I guess.
I see continuation of the same trend. So I think of the single family home markets and the condo markets separately because there is a divergence in behavior. For the single family home market, obviously it's not affected by that law change that came into effect this year. And then also we cannot add more inventory vertically. So there's this prime scarcity component that doesn't exist for condos. So the single family home market, I see the floor of the market continuing to disappear. Actually, I contributed hugely to this Wall Street Journal article last week on this topic. I don't know if you guys saw it. They quoted me in the whole article is about this, how under $500,000 is going extinct in South Florida, and that will continue. So the single family home market I see is being incredibly tight growing. I see that the low end will continue to disappear, and we're going to keep chasing new highs at the tail at the high end. So we're seeing prices per square foot and high-end pricing that it's a new asset class. It previously did not exist. We're seeing spec homes built at over 4,000 and 5,000 square foot in the single-family home market, and that did not exist at all. The fastest percentage growth in versus pre-COVID sales volume is actually single-family past 2,000 a square foot. So prime new single-family is up like 700% sales volume versus pre-COVID. So I see single-family continuing to be the strongest asset class because of the scarcity factor as a whole, without any segmentation, because the scarcity factor, and because it's not affected by that condo law. You just have basically a land value play at the low end versus a liability for condos at the low end. Yeah, that's a difference. Single family at the low end is land play, land value. Condos at the low end are a headache for assessments, or that's how they're perceived.
Right.
So in the condo market, I see that difference. When I talk about the condo market, I think of it as two different markets. Within the condo market, I think of new and old. And new is behaving very, very differently than old. So you have to think of them separately. Old product is not benefiting from the wealth and talent migration. People coming from New York City are not buying old condos anyway. And then they were affected by that law change. They got kind of hit twice. They're not benefiting and they got hit by the law change. When it comes to new product, that is end user, so not condo hotel, new product within proximity of urban cores. At this point, that's spreading, but new end user product, I actually see an undersupply at the high end. Now in the middle, interestingly, that's going to matter. It's going to matter by building because buildings are not created equal. Some are okay, some are not. So I think that the buildings that are in good shape, they actually have a scarcity component also because when it comes to condos, yes, we can build, we could add more inventory vertically, but that new inventory is expensive. It's not possible to deliver new product under, I keep saying 1,000, but that's not even true, like 1,200 a square foot in Miami-Dade County. It's not possible to deliver. So when you see a condo, new construction for 600,000, it's a studio in a condo hotel. That's it. It's like 500 square feet or 400 square feet. And so condos in older buildings, 20, 30 years old, whatever it is, that are under $1 million, 500, 600,000, whatever it is, right? That are not studios, that are actual units, and where the building is not a disaster, they actually have a scarcity play too, because you can't introduce new product at those price points.
Yeah. Interesting. Wow, a lot of great data there. I'll be putting together sound bites. I think that one right there is a great sound bite.
Cool.
A lot of great stuff there. All right, so let's talk about some of the market fundamentals. We've talked about a little bit of this already, but we'll go into population. This is a forecast from the Florida Office of Economic and Demographic Research. So you could see there, this people will continue exactly what Anna was talking about, moving to the fertile ground of South Florida. And then we can look at our international migration. This has always been the case. This is what really makes Miami different from other major cities. Nobody has this international migration. What is crazy is if you add number one, Miami, and number four, Broward, if that was one entity, it would be an incredible number there. So it's international migration. And then we also have to talk about all the different companies that have moved here. We have Blackstone, Citadel, obviously, Goldman Sachs, Founders Fund. There's a lot more companies that we could add on here. I know Apple is coming to Coral Gables, and you have also FIFA moving to Cape Coral Gables. So, I mean, there's so many more companies that you could add here. I have to update this.
I mean, it keeps changing, so it's hard to keep up.
Yes, yes. Okay, and then so here are some great numbers. Our chief economist, I did see her. She's on here. She's able to get this great data from the IRS. Everything that I know you were talking about, wealth migration. These are the numbers to back it up. And how much is this going to impact not just now, but in the future? This touches all parts of the economy.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, again, these are people who are coming here that not to retire, but to live and create. And there is still, believe it or not, this misconception in people's minds that people come to Florida just to retire or do nothing, and that is not the reality anymore whatsoever. So it's people who are coming here to create and live and work, and this really does affect. This touches everything. That's why our restaurant scene is growing. That's why we have all these things on that we didn't have 10 years ago. Is because we have more people playing in the economy, so to speak.
Yes, definitely. Miami, I know in at least one study is ranked number one foodie city.
That would not have been the case 20 years ago. That would have been crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, number one. All right, so here are some of the feeder states. We talked about all the high net worth people moving here. What are the states? This is just based on driver license exchanges data. But is it still the case, Anna? Is it not the top three, New York, California, New Jersey? Is that what you're
Yep.
seeing still moving
Yep.
here?
Yep. We may
Yeah,
get more California now because of their tragedy, but yes.
that's true. Okay. All right, so let's take a look at 10 million up home sales. Again, we're trying to tell the story of the wealth migration. I thought this one is a good way, and you can see the incredible increase. And I've actually asked our team to look up what 50 million in up home sales and 100 million home sales. I saw an article saying that Miami had an increase in $100 million listings. I
Yeah, they're
know.
not confirmed closed, but yeah, the highest price condo that has sold is still the one that Ken Griffin bought at Vienna for or 60 or 69 million back in the day, and he never moved in. Apparently, word is he bought a pre-construction at Vienna, and apparently he walked in and said he didn't like the view. That's what I was told, but who knows? And then
He
he
didn't like the
sold it at a
view.
loss. But yeah, he never lived in it. He never moved in. But
Wow.
that is to date still the highest closed condo purchase. Um, there's some that are under contract, allegedly pre-construction that for more, and we have these $100 million penthouses at various projects. So they're and at houses, of course, are pushing that. We have tremendous action in the spec market for homes at very high price points. I was in two in Gables Estates recently under construction that will be marketed at over $60 million when they're done, and they were spec or end user. Yeah. So there's a yes. So yes, it's coming. But this is a function of the global wealth, also the global wealth and the polarization of wealth across the world. And now we've become one of the places where those people are coming. That's like a global wealth destination thing.
Wow. So tell me the record again with that it was
Vienna, that was King Griffin. That's the most expensive condo to have closed thus far is his purchase of the Vienna penthouse. Actually, he combined two units. That was when it was pre-construction. It was like last cycle, like 2017, something like this. I think it was 69 or 60 million, 60 something.
Yeah, I'd also like to interested on the single family side, the record there for
Over 100. There have been closes over 100 at single
over
family.
100. Yeah, single family. Okay, excellent. All right. Okay, so moving along. All right, let's have some little fun. We released this new study, 2024 Miami Global Report. If you haven't seen it, it's very easy to find on our website, and I could put it in the chat. It is Miami Realtors, MiamiRealtors.com/global. If you go there, you will see this report and you can download it. But first, let me ask you some questions.
Mhm.
What is the top foreign country purchasing in South Florida? Number two, how many total countries purchase real estate in South Florida? And what percentage of Florida global real estate sales are made in South Florida? If you guys could type it into the comments, we'll see who wins, especially the first one. Very important to see what is the top foreign country. So if you guys could type it in, and then we'll see who wins later. Again, this is a brand new release study. All right, so let's take a look at median sale price. Yes, first, before I get into the January 2025 numbers, this is just to give you some context. Miami historically ranks number one or number two. I think at the latest, you'll see there that graphics from August, but I checked the January report and I believe Miami's ranked number three now. That's according to CoreLogic. And then here's our equity gains from our great chief economist, the stats. And then so let's go through the three counties, and then I'll ask you here, Anna, about the Miami-Dade. So no surprise, single family have increased year over year in January. Condos increased. Here's a look at Broward, double-digit increase on the single family side. Palm Beach, um, single family and condos increased. All right. So on the median sale price here, Anna. Condos, we're not seeing the double-digit increases that, in the heyday, right, in the COVID period, but these numbers are probably healthier for the market. You want to see these type of increases year over year, no?
Yeah, well, for the condo market, the overall median is pulled down by the surge of inventory at the low end that resulted from that law change. That's
Yes,
really what's going on there. And single family doesn't have that challenge, so it's up more.
yes, definitely. Great points. All right, so to take a look historically, here's a look at going back till 1994, and you could see how much prices have peaked from the bottom in 2011, from the peak in 2007. Really, the COVID period, that switch to remote work, really and you talk about that in Long Miami and how it reset the old way of thinking, right? That you don't have to be in one city, right, Anna? That
Yeah, broke
you can,
habits long enough for me to new ones. And I was always saying that it's not going to be for everybody, but even if 10% of people change their behavior at scale, that's enormous. And we're on the receiving end of that 10% or whatever it is that change their behaviors. It's
yes.
nice. We have a good quality of life here. It's a good place to live. The word is out.
Yeah, I mean, look outside today. I mean, incredible,
Oh, the country has that polar vortex again. I forgot. You see the polar vortex map, and it's like it just like goes through central northern Florida, and like we never get it.
yeah, we never get it. And then
No,
today,
it's
I mean, this
fantastic.
morning, 58 degrees, 59 degrees, a beautiful day. All right, so here's Broward and Palm Beach. Again, you guys will have this PowerPoint, put it in your email in the chat, and I will email this entire PowerPoint to you so you could take your time and look through all the stats. All right, so talking about inventory, we have an increase in inventory, but it's still not at the historical average. I took a look at 2024. We're still below the historical average. Um,
And single
but
family, that's what I was saying to the journals. I feed reporters so much stuff, and I feel like they seldom print the most interesting things. But the Wall Street Journal did an amazing job. And they printed, so this article that I contributed to, we focused on the action at the high end and at the low end. And so for Miami-Dade County, single family homes below $500,000, active listings are down 86% versus pre-COVID. That's the January update. The article has it through December. So in January 2019, there were over 4,000 active listings below $500,000 in Miami-Dade County for single family homes. January of this year, there's 600.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
that is crazy.
It's going extinct. And it's impossible to deliver a new product at those price points because of construction costs, land costs, and so forth.
Yeah. Yeah, in order for developers to make money, it tends to be a luxury or
Yeah, I mean, even for, it applies to both, but for condo projects, it is legitimately impossible to deliver below 1,000 a square foot. And we don't even find 1,000 a square foot anymore. You have to go to Broward, even in Broward, like Related's dry lot project, was it Andare over there is 950 a square foot for large units. Below, it doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. And so, yeah, there's this whole squeeze on that segment of the market.
oh, all right. All right, so let's talk about how Miami compares to other global cities. And this really shows you you get a lot more bang for your buck here, right?
And this is a great chart because we're actually still undervalued compared to these other global cities, but the profile of our city and our region has risen dramatically. And I actually think that it's kind of going in tandem. The profile is rising while the prices are rising, but the prices still have a ways to go because I think that the profile of the city will keep rising. And we know what global appetites are because we see it here.
Yeah, super interesting. All right. All right, Anna. So one of the questions that we always get here, prices have continued to increase as we saw in January 2025. Is this going to be another 2008? How would you answer that?
No, so yeah, UBS had this very irresponsible bubble report last year where they used Miami as the clickbait in the headline. So they said that Miami was prime bubble because their only factor was the speed of price appreciation. But speed of price appreciation is not how you define a bubble. Bubbles are bubbles because they burst, and we see them kind of looking back. And asset class bubbles usually burst because of irresponsible usage of debt. And at some point, the underlying asset can no longer sustain the debt and it crumbles. So and usually that's in the face of a diminishment in demand. So we don't have we have high all cash buying and high home equity in the market. So we don't have a debt driven market like at all. And at the same time, we actually have inventory levels below pre-COVID across the board. And when you filter into some segments, it's shockingly so. And then we have demand higher than before. So this is not a bubble setup whatsoever.
Yeah, that's huge. Equity, incredible equity out there. Yeah, great points. All right, so put a chart hoping to help realtors here. Like, why buy a home now? There's so many other factors you could put in here, but we have mentioned some of them. Inflation continues to be hot. So, yeah, any other points here that you would like to
I
add
mean,
or?
I would say that for South Florida, especially if we're talking about single family, there's just such inherent scarcity. And the floor of that market will just keep rising. So there's no point whatsoever. Um, yeah. For the condo market, people have to be more aware if the building is not new. Well, even then they have to be aware. You have to be aware of the situation in the building. There's less of an easy answer. Um, but I don't see the appetite for South Florida real estate in general waning. And then again, single family, we can't add more inventory vertically. So I think that the scarcity factor there has just begun to play out.
Yeah. No, 100%. There's no more land, like like you said. And then on the condo side, I want to mention that the Miami Association of Realtors put on a great condo summit um, last week, and you guys could still get information. We have everything posted. I'm writing it on in the chat, miamirealtors.com/condo summit. A lot of presentations posted right there. So please take advantage of everything that went into that event.
When it comes to land scarcity, too, just a point on this, we tend to be neck and neck with Texas when it comes to raw net migration interstate. They were ahead of us last year. Before that, we're very close. So we're kind of neck and neck with Texas when it comes to interstate migration. But it's important to point out that while we're neck and neck for the raw number of people, we're 4 times smaller. Back to land scarcity.
Yeah, 4 times smaller. Wow, that's a great point. All right, let's take a look at closed sales. How we're doing in closed sales, and you can see Miami-Dade total sales are down by 2.89, single family essentially even.
Okay. Yeah, so for the single family number, that's almost entirely due to losses at lower prices, and those losses are due to disappearance of inventory. So if we take out, if we look at 500,000 to 1 million for the single family home market, we actually have record high transaction volume and it's up year over year.
Yes.
Every segment is up year over year. It's just the sub 500 that has no transactions because there's no inventory.
Yeah. If we had inventory, it would sell.
Yes. Oh, it would fly. Yeah.
Here's a look at Broward. Total sales are down, single family up. Here's Palm Beach County, positive across the board. All right, so let's talk about some tools to help realtors and Miami members. Are you leveraging Market Watch on Matrix? It's a great way to show what's happening in the last 7 days because everything we have here is mostly backward looking. And so this lets you know what's happening in the last 7 days. And then, so here are some other free tools for Miami members. Are you using IMAP? Are you using SunStats? These are all free. We have zip code reports. We have RPR. Here's a look at IMAP. They launched a new beta version, just launched. And I got this screenshot from the beta version. Anna, I don't know if are you familiar with IMAP and
Yep.
yeah, it's probably one of our most popular services and products, and it's a good way for realtors to access that data, right?
Agree. You have
Yeah,
a lot of information on IMAP and you can export it in all sorts of ways.
definitely. Yeah, so take advantage of IMAP. Here's a look at RPR, what you could get. Housing stat. This is just an example. I chose Hialeah. Here's the Sun Stats. Very simple way that you could get graphics that, you could get this infographic in literally minutes. You select your metrics, you put in your picture and your information, and something you could share right away. All right, new pending sales, best indicator of future closed sales. Let's take a look. And these are the numbers for January 2025. Again, a lot of these numbers, because the sale process takes a while, so it's, you know, I don't tend to rely too much on these pending sales numbers because I don't know how you look at it.
I don't look at them at all,
There you go.
to be very honest. And
Yeah.
also, these are month over month. What is this? The -5, is it year over year?
Year over year, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I honestly don't look at pending very much at all, if
Interesting.
ever.
Yeah, I agree. All right, so let's take a look at dollar volume, sum of all sale prices. This number right here always is, boggles my mind.
Yeah,
This is January, a slow month, historically, a slow month for real estate, but still 1.4 billion in Dade, almost a billion in Broward, 1.6 billion. And this doesn't even include new construction because new construction is not an MLS, but
correct.
it really shows you the power of the industry that we're in. Yeah. All right, so let's take a look at months of supply. This is a very important indicator. What we want is 6 to 9 months is a balanced market. Less than 6 is a sellers, more is a buyers. And then, so here's an example of how you guys you can put it together for a neighborhood or city or block and again, you guys will have this when I email it to you. Miami-Dade months of supply. So Anna, we're seeing an increase here, especially on the condos and how you mentioned, because of the inventory, especially on the lower side, lower price. But
Correct.
what are your views here on months of supply and what we could continue to see in the future?
So again, I like to segment it as an overall market. It actually tells me very little because supply, I mean, look, half of the market transacts below the median, obviously, right? So the median for single family homes is, what was it, 640,000, something like this.
Yeah.
So months of supply at that number is very different than months of supply at 2 million or whatever exists at 400,000. So these are all very, very different submarkets. And so the overall months of supply, like it doesn't tell me that much. Even doing like a crude segmentation of saying 1 million and above, 1 million below, 500,000, it gives you more insight into what's actually happening. Because the reality is for single family, that uptick in months in an inventory is due to the very high end, but the very high end does take longer to sell. That's normal. So if you look at high end luxury, having 6 months of supply at $10 million has never happened. That's fantastic. And so most of the single family inventory that's come to market is at higher price points where there naturally are longer durations for the sell cycle for months of inventory. But if we were to segment this and look at below the median, let's say it's like still 3 or 4.
Yeah, yeah, no. Hey, great points. And this is all, macro, and
Mhm.
really how realtors make their money and become successful is knowing the micro. So
100%. And the same thing for the condo market. So this is because of that huge uptick of stuff that is difficult to sell because it has problems. But it doesn't reflect the reality of things that do not have problems.
yes. All right. Great. Okay, so here's a look at Broward monthly supply
Same thing.
overall in Palm Beach. Um, here's a little bit what you're talking about
I
how
see. There you go.
there you
See,
go.
2 months. What was I saying? Yep.
Yeah, so this breaks it down by price bucket. Well, one thing I wish we had was, 5 million or more and 10 million or more. I'd like to get those stats. But yeah, this is exactly what you're talking about, how it changes at the different price level. All right, so let's take a look at some hot markets. What are the hottest markets? And this is based on months of supply. Okay, so now we're in a little bit of the micro level because now we're talking about cities.
Exactly.
Months of supply for single family. Number one is Miami Gardens. On the condo side is Kendall. Months of supply. Any of these markets or anything, any other city that doesn't have to be on here, but any other city that catches your eye and some of the data you're looking at, or
No, no, I mean they're kind of here. Homestead has had an uptick recently because people are seeking out more affordable options, even though it's not so affordable anymore either. No.
yeah, yeah, homestead on both sides on the single family
Mhm.
and condo. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Here's a look at Broward, hottest markets. Parkland checks in number one, 3.4 months. Plantation on the condo side. Here's a look at Palm Beach. Again,
Broward had the biggest percentage of sales volume growth past 1,000 a square foot last year because it's filling in now.
which one was that?
Broward County, as
Oh,
a
okay.
percentage change, biggest percentage change. Basically didn't have it before, and now it has condos past 1,000 a foot. They used to not exist in Broward.
Ah, interesting. Okay. So here's Palm Beach. All right, active inventory. See how many listings out there. So this is January 2025, year over year. 38% increase for Miami-Dade. You could take a look at Broward and Palm Beach. But still, Miami-Dade is still, I looked at it around 27% below
That's correct.
pandemic, like 2019, January 2019. But um, it's still not at the levels of pre-pandemic, right?
Nope. And again, that's the whole market. And then you segment, and then some are shockingly below.
Yes. And that's something that we don't see in the media. I know there was a
No,
story.
you don't. The Wall Street
Yeah.
Journal guys read my article. They did it finally. I
Yeah,
had
there.
a 3 week project with the Wall Street Journal. No, for real. They had my report printed out, everything. I had an hour-long discussion with them. So my charts are all over that article. It was out last week. It's called like, I don't remember, Extinction of Price Point and something at the high end. But if you Google my name in Wall Street Journal, I think you just go to the Wall Street Journal. E.B. Salmon wrote it. It's a great article. They finally printed all of this. They show the charts showing the disappearance at the low end. I was so happy. I've been trying
Yeah.
to get to publish this for years.
No, I read it. Yeah, it is, great quotes and everything. And but that's interesting at how long you spent an hour with a reporter and in what 3 weeks?
Oh
It's
yeah, it was a whole project.
it's almost like education. Yeah.
Yes, it was Professor Anna.
All right, awesome. Okay, so here's some points, bullet points that we want to talk about. Miami condo active listings are down 27.3% versus pre-pandemic. Might not hear that in the media. Maybe it's not new normal. This is historical 7% mortgage rates. We have sales forecasted to rise at least, by realtor.com. All right, global study answers. Let's see
Yep.
who is the top foreign country purchasing in South Florida. This is a brand new. Who's got it? Argentina.
Oh wow.
Argentina. That this might be the Messi effect. All right, let me take a look. Thank you guys for all the I'm taking a look now. We're going to give the championship to Francine Najami. I believe she was first. Thank you, Francine, Argentina. Yeah, you were first. Yeah, great job. Argentina, but thank you for the other guesses. Colombia, I mean, Colombia's, right there, 14%, so that's a great guess. Everybody guessing Jeanette, thank you, Jeanette. Miami leader, Argentina. Marine, Argentina. Because of Messi, yes. Thank you guys for all those comments. Francine is celebrating. Thank you. Yay. All right. Thank you, Francine. Okay, so that was the first question. The second question, how many total countries purchase real estate in South Florida? It's 49.
Wow.
49 countries. And I did see a guess in here by, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, Irna. She guessed 64. So you're close. Yes. Good job. And then what percentage of Florida global real estate sales are made in South Florida? This our CEO, Teresa King Kinney. This is probably her favorite chart in she always says it in the global study. 49%. And I don't know, look at the difference between Miami and Orlando, which you would think would be higher, but that really speaks to our global.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. Miami is an international city. I don't see Orlando attracting an international audience like to live there. They might go to Disneyland, but they're not living there. Same thing. Like,
Yes.
no, I grew up in New York City. New Yorkers are not moving to Orlando. It's the same type of thing.
Yes. Yes. Um, yes, definitely. All right. Okay, so let's talk about some tools and resources. We talked a little bit about them, but just let's recap. SunStats, this is a free Miami service. It is included with your membership. You guys should take advantage of it. You get the stats. All of the stats I created here, many of them, the graphics, I use SunStats. So I definitely recommend using SunStats. We have co-branding marketing materials. It's free for Miami members. I have it there. Yeah, MiamiRealtors.com/co-brand. We have these flyers that you could put your logo on. And then we have Miami Photify. This is only available on your phone. It's an app. You have to register first, so that I have the website there, MiamiRealtors.com/Photify. But again, it is included with your membership, and we have about 1,000 templates there where it's easy to add you could see Arlene Davis Lego is one of our incredible ambassadors here in Photify. She does a great job there of using, putting in her picture, her information, her company logo, and really it's there for you guys. So if you guys could use it, we have market reports that are going on sfmarketintel.com. We also have market focus videos, more data there. We have zip code and city quarterly reports that are posted on sfmarketintel.com. See, I told you I would say it a couple times. And we also have RPR. Okay, so I'm just looking at the chat now. This is from Adriana Mendoza. If a seller is on the fence to list, which of these slides would you use on a mail campaign? That's interesting. What are your thoughts on that one, Anna?
I can't answer that. I have no information.
Yeah. If a seller is on the fence. Yeah, Andrew, Adriana, if you could add a little bit more info, we'll answer that question. So there's our PR. And so we have Miami trainers that are available to help you on if you guys have questions on, for instance, Photify, if you have questions on SunStats, on IMAP, these trainers, they put on classes every single day. And if not, you could email them and they will definitely help you get that. All right, so let's talk about cross-market demand. This is what markets are looking at Miami-Dade listings. This is put together by Realtor.com. They do a great job updating this. Anna, you talked about New York. They are all over this list. Wait until you see Palm Beach. But, how could a realtor leverage this type of information?
Oh, I think a few ways. One, of course, for marketing efforts, knowing where the buyers are coming from, and then also perhaps recognizing what their different expectations are and what they're looking for when they come here.
Definitely. Okay. Um, Anna, I'm looking at the chat here. A question from Bridget. Anna, what tools do you use to gather your analytics?
Oh,
There's a lot,
I
right?
download, no, I don't actually. I download raw data and then it gets parsed and charted. So I
Ah,
don't really use tools, to be very honest. I just download raw data.
raw data. Excellent. Okay, so here's a look at what markets are looking at Broward County listings. And no surprise, New York is number one. What I like about this, if you look on the right, you can see the percentage of and how it increases. Let me go back to Miami-Dade, but 26.1% from New York County, and then
Wow.
Broward at 24.8% are coming from New York County. Really amazing. And then take a look at Palm Beach.
Well,
We have every single New York County on this list, I believe. Maybe I'm incorrect, but
that's amazing.
that's New York definitely loves Palm Beach. All right, and so here is my information. I put Anna's information. I put your
Y-
website at the beginning.
Yeah, you guys will follow me on Instagram. I post little frequent updates there. It's Anna ANA underscore analytics.
Yes, definitely follow her and go to her website. Let's see. Here's my information. Um, Anna, just a couple. This is interesting. Luciana asked, "Is it raw data software?" But there's no
No,
software, right? It's just
no.
she's finding the data and then she's analyzing it, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. And Carolina asked, "Will you be share the recording as well?" Yes. Carolina, if you could write your if you could write your email into the chat, I will send you the PowerPoint and the recording. Okay, I see our chief economist is a point there, the cross demand slide showing where buyers are coming from. Okay, so that was a question from Adriana. What how, if a buyer is on the fence, Adriana, if you're still here, this is the slide. This is the slide right here. If they're on the fence. Thank you, Gay.
it's a good general purpose slide. I agree.
Yes. All right, awesome. All right, well, Anna, well, thank you. Any final takeaways or anything that you want to tell our members and realtors out there?
Yeah, just to be super aware and specific about which market segment that you're talking about, because number one, the media is getting it wrong. They're generalizing. They're putting us together with the state of Florida. We're not the state of Florida. Again, it's like, do you talk about Manhattan in the same sentence as Buffalo? You don't. So it's the same thing here. We're an international destination. So be super specific and knowledgeable about the sector that you're talking about, because even within our market, we have different realities across different sectors. So get very specific, know the reality of your segment, and that would be my top piece of advice.
Awesome. All right, Anna. Well, Miami Association, we love you here, and you've I think you've been on this program
Quite a few
multiple
times.
times, and so we really thankful for your time. And I learned a lot today. I took down some good notes, and I know you helped everybody out here. So
Fantastic. Thanks, guys. Yeah, go find that Wall Street Journal article last week. I was really happy that a major news outlet finally printed reality. So that was very good. It was out last week. And then yeah, on underscore analytics for Instagram, I post there. Like on my website, I publish quarterly and annual reports, but on Instagram, I publish more frequent mini updates.
excellent. Yeah. And when I send everybody who put in their email, I will send you the PowerPoint, I will send you the recording, and I will send you the link to that Wall Street Journal article.
Cool.
Awesome. Hey, well, thank you guys, everybody, and have a great weekend.
Bye,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.